all of a sudden, when you actually have true attraction, especially for women, let me just tell you about this. Our hormones will start releasing. And we talk about this. This is oxytocin. This is what makes us what I call our critical thinking. The critical thinking, literally, there is brain scans on when people are having attraction to someone and falling for someone. There's a brain scan that your critical thinking actually shrinks. This is why we can't think correctly when we're falling for someone. This is not your fault. This is why when you're first falling for someone, you have that real connection. You think it's a real connection, but it's not necessarily a connection. It's your hormones releasing something that's not allowing you to really be able to like get all your senses of like, is this person right or wrong? Because you're not.
Welcome to the Asian Dating Podcast. I'm your host, May Bugenhagen. I am a matchmaker, CEO of Two Asian Matchmakers, and a dating coach. I love helping men find Asian women, and I love when Asian women join my database so I can have a place to find you and to set you up. And today I have a very special guest. Charlene Byars is a feminine embodiment practitioner and certified empowerment coach. She specializes in romantic relationships and dating and has been coaching women for over 20 years. And when you meet Charlene, you're going to love her. Like when I met her, I love her. And she's totally entertaining and has great information. So welcome to the show, Charlene. How are you?
Well, hello. Hi. Oh, I'm so excited to be here today. Oh, I just love talking about relationships, love, all the things. Hi, hon. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Tell the audience a
Yeah.
little bit about how you got started and what made you become an empowerment coach.
Oh, yeah. That's okay. Let's start there. I love that. Yes. So how did I get started? Wow. I got started because I found myself long time ago in I would say a very disempowering relationship. I was married to my ex-husband for 23 years, and I was in this marriage. I was very much in love with this man, but I was not who I am today. There's been lots of things that have happened to me along my journey. And I remember back then, I knew that the way that I was showing up, the way that, how my life was, I knew something needed to shift. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I found out that I absolutely needed to get some empowerment in my life, clear some things that I was holding on to. And that actually really started my journey, because you see me now, I'm have all this energy and I'm happy and all this this wasn't me back then. This wasn't, I was definitely really, I was shy, I was insecure. And yeah, it's been a journey for me, but the empowerment work started purely because of that, because I personally needed it myself. And that's how I got started with this empowerment work.
So you primarily help women, right? Not men. You just help
No,
women.
I actually help men too. I actually, yeah, I primarily, yes, work with women, but for some reason, men also always gravitated to me. I'm a mother. I have 4 boys, and ranging from like 31, 20, all this. So I've always had this understanding of men also. So I have this little niche I talk about. I deal with a lot of men in their 20s, which is interesting, right? So I deal a lot with men with their 20s, but I also really focus on women. And that's kind of been my whole focus of my business in general. That's what you're asking me? Yeah.
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 So women and dating, like
Women
why
and babies.
women and dating? Why are we dating? How should we date? What is your philosophy on dating and
Oh,
how to
dating.
empower women?
Yes. Okay, definitely. Let's talk about dating. To me, dating is like truly like the first step, one of the most important things, when we're really looking, if we're looking to find, a partner for ourselves to be in this romantic relationship. Dating is so important. And what I realize is that a lot of us women, especially us women, we actually don't know how to date. And I tell men, I'm like, wow, you guys kind of figured this out. We have not figured this out. And why I believe that dating is so important, and there's a process in dating, and why that is because this is what I know to be true 100%. I believe like who you decide to marry and who you decide to be your life partner is probably the most important decision you ever make, because who you decide to be with will absolutely determine, your overall happiness. Because if you're in a relationship and you are, in relationships, will go in little ways. But if you're truly in a healthy, aligned relationship, that will affect you in such a beautiful way. You will have, such a different energy in your home. Things will be different. But if you're in a relationship and you truly are in a relationship that is toxic, that there's no alignment, that there's conflict, that energy, it doesn't even matter what you try to do as a human being. If you're trying to, be happy and do all the things, but if you're sleeping with a person that is miserable and toxic and you're not happy, that's going to affect your overall happiness. That's going to actually affect your life. So who we choose to be in a relationship with is so important. So important. It affects everything. And if we're going to be in a relationship with someone, we're going to have children with someone, that affects everything, who you decide to choose. So ladies, we need to pick the right men from the beginning. We need to choose correctly from the beginning. So how do we choose correctly from the beginning? We have to learn how to date. We have to learn how to date. I'm going to talk about that. You want me to talk about that?
Yes, let's talk about how should women learn how to date and how should they date?
And how should they date? So let's talk about a couple things. So what is the traditional way of dating, right? What is the traditional way of dating now these days? What people think about dating. So usually, like, say a woman will be on a dating app, and she's on a dating app and let's say she has a little connection with a guy. And so finally they get to go meet in person. If a lady's, single and she's on a dating app and she goes meets a guy in person, and then she has a little connection with him, because I always tell people, listen, it takes time to actually get to know someone. And I have a whole process on that. And so you get a little connection, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, women, I don't know what, ladies, I don't know what's going on, but they go and they get back home and they're like, oh, I liked him. And they get off the dating app. Okay. And they start concentrating on the one guy. Well, when you really honestly don't even know this guy yet, and just because you had a little, little connection, but you actually don't know him yet, and you put all your eggs in one basket, you end up like obsessing over that one guy. Is he calling me? Is he not calling me? What's going on? And you kind of get in this little, like, you lose your mind a little bit. Like it's almost too much. And when you do that, what happens is a lot of times you spend time with this guy, and he usually ends up being someone that you're not really wanting to continue on dating. So you just wasted a whole bunch of time spending time on this one guy he don't even know you, you don't even know him, and you were just literally getting to know someone. So I have a whole philosophy on dating. I take dating, I always say, and let me, you know what? We're getting ahead of ourselves. Before I talk to women about dating, I also try to find out, like, what's been going on with them, what's their dating life in general have been like, and what type of guys are showing up, when they keep dating. Like, what kind of energy keeps showing up? Are we meeting like really great guys, or not so much? Not so much, because that's what's happening. So a lot of women are saying, Charlene, I'm dating and it's hard, it's hard to meet some great guys. So I'm like, okay, because we have to look at it differently. So I take dating in a sense of, I use it like in sales. I take it like a funnel. Okay. So I'm gonna slow this down. I wish I had my board and I can draw this to you, but I can't right now. So we're just going to go like this. If you're a single lady and you are looking to, find someone, give yourself an opportunity to actually get to know different men. Because when you really empower yourself and give yourself an opportunity to know different men, you really start to see what it is that you're like, what energy that you're liking, and different personalities, different alignment that you weren't used to before, that you didn't even know before, because you've been so one guy at a time. Dating is just to get to know people. Ladies. Dating is all about, and men, let me say something, is just getting to know different people to realize in time who you're having alignment with. So I always tell women, I said, listen, I recommend date, which is just talking to people, 3 people at a time, 100%, because you want to put yourself in really great odds. Okay. And so when you're dating, when you're talking to 3 people at a time, you have an opportunity to give that opportunity to see if what that person is saying, how that person is talking, are they really actually showing up that way? Because that's what I tell women. I'm like, listen, anybody can say anything to you, right? Like anybody can say, I'm this, I'm that, I'm nice, I'm kind, I'm this, I'm that. But how do you really know all that? You know that over time. So I start with, even before we start dating and we start getting that empowerment and getting to know different men at a time, I talk about a process that I work through, which is, how do we actually get to know someone? Like, what is that? So there's a process that I take also women through. I said, before we go ahead and we're going to honestly commit to somebody, because that's the ultimate thing in dating. And usually for me, and I'll just speak for me. So the work that I do is I help people date to find their husband. Okay. So there's different ways of, right? So there's dating in the sense of people are dating just to, I don't know, just to meet someone, to hook up, to have a, relationship. That's not what I do. I believe that dating is to literally find the person that you want to spend your life with. And so we got to keep it light. We got to keep it fun. And because we don't know who that person is yet, we don't know that person, you got to get to know them. So one of the things that I do is I talk about when we first meet someone, we have this, what I call this picture view on who we think that person is. And so it's this picture view. So when we meet someone, we think of who that person is. And usually it's based on their mannerisms, the way they're talking, the way they look. We start forming this picture view of who we think that is. So let's say you're on a date and you are meeting this guy. And all of a sudden, this guy, has these mannerisms and this humor. And you're like, oh my gosh, that guy really has a humor like my dad. So all of a sudden, you're going to associate that with your dad. And you already know that your dad's a good guy. And you're already thinking, oh gosh, he must be a good guy because, he has this thing like, it's kind of like my dad, like this humor of my dad. But the reality is, you actually don't know that person yet. This is true. And how do you actually get to know that person? You got to slow things down. Because first of all, we got to get to know someone. So there's a process here. We got to get to know someone. How do you know someone? Well, in time. So if you're dating someone and let's say, for example, you're dating Steve and you're getting to know Steve and you're not committed to Steve. So it's just getting to know Steve. You're just getting to see Steve's energy and see what Steve is all about, right? And maybe you're going to go out for a coffee with Steve. Maybe you're going to go out to just a little concert with Steve. Keep it light, keep it simple. It's okay. Okay. So then maybe you're kind of talking to Steve and kind of getting Steve's energy, but maybe you're also talking to Bob. Okay, let's talk to Bob too. And then let's not forget Chris, because we got Bob, Chris, and Steve. And oh, it's so funny. I was on a podcast the other day, and I don't know how this happened. I had Spanish names. I was like Rico, Fernando, and I know now I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so when you are getting to know these guys, you have to give yourself an opportunity to also be around their people. See how they interact and who their people are, because that's really going to tell you a lot about that person. And not only that, as you give it time, meet this person and do different things with this person. Like I said, don't do the typical, let's not go on a dinner date until we actually really like the person. That's way too much, way too intimate, too quick, too much. And ladies, you don't want to be spending a whole dinner with the guy that you don't even know yet. Okay. So let's get to know them. So when you get to know him, then you can start trusting him. Okay. Okay. So you know what I'm noticing as time is going by? What he says is really matching up by his actions. Oh, I'm kind of this man, not only how he's showing up, it's matching what he does, his mannerism, how he's acting. I love that he's very polite and very considerate to the wait staff. So if you're with the guy and you're on a date and the guy already, you're on a coffee date or something like that, and that man is already rude, impatient, you're done. Go to Chris over here. Seriously, like say, okay, no big deal. Go talk, just politely finish that time with him. You don't change anybody, don't anything. And then go ahead and just text the other one. Hi, how you doing? You know what I mean? Like seriously, but let's go here. But as time's going by, if you're really liking this guy, think about this. If you're really liking this guy, and you're getting to know him because you're meeting, other people, he's showing up. And now you're like, you know what? I'm really trusting this guy. Once you trust the guy, ladies, then you can rely on him. You're like, oh, okay, well, he's a trustworthy person. I'm already getting to know him. He's trustworthy. I can rely on him because you know what? He's a man of his word. I can rely on him. Once you finally can rely on a man, this is when we actually commit. Okay? Like, why are we committing to relationships if we don't even know them, we don't even trust them, and we can't even rely on them? Then when we rely on them, then we commit. Then we commit, let's go ahead and touch. We're doing it backwards, people. No, seriously, and really, seriously, we are touching without knowing who the hell we're touching. And so for women, as a grown-ass woman, and as a grown-ass man, you can do whatever you want. You can sleep with someone, not sleep with someone. It doesn't matter. You do whatever you want. That's okay. But just to make it very clear, just because you sleep with someone doesn't mean that you're in a romantic relationship. You are not in a romantic relationship until that guy literally says, hey, will you be my girlfriend? Or will you be exclusive with me? And then you get to say yes or no. Until then, you're just dating, getting to know different people, and you're actually not committed to anybody. Let me make that very clear. Dating is not a commitment. It's not a commitment, hun. So there's a process. And before we get all there, we got to find out, before we go and date and have fun and all that, we got to find out, like I said, what it is that has been showing up in our lives, like what kind of men have been showing up, and how we can shift that energy so we can actually start dating some really great people.
I love it. So that's what you encourage your women to do. Meet the men, get to know them slowly. Have options so they're not stressed out and put all their eggs in one basket with one guy and then have it be stressful. Is he calling me? Is he texting me? But if you open it up and have options, you get a little bit more relaxed, right? With dating,
you do.
More
yes.
fun. Then
you're more fun and you're more relaxed, because if you are going on dates, and this was, me back in the day when I started dating again, after I was married, I was in like this dating, I had to go back out and date and do this whole thing. Wow, that was interesting. That was not fun actually for me until I learned all this, because I was like I said, I didn't understand. Oh, Charlene, first of all, there's some factors that have to happen here, because back then the Charlene, again, I've done work. I've done work on myself. When I would used to date, not only that I was more of the traditional kind of just date one guy at a time, I didn't even know back then that I wasn't relaxed. I didn't even know back then that I had no idea about polarity. I had no idea about energy. I had no idea about masculine and feminine energies. I was just this lady who was a workhorse. Like seriously, I was a workhorse. I was a single mom with 4 kids. I was working, and I'm out dating for the first time. And I'm going out on dates, and I was pretty intense, even though I think I'm not intense. I'm pretty intense. And I used to say, it was almost like I was busting the guy's balls. Like, they're like, wow, lady. Right. I didn't know how to just relax, have a good time, and enjoy myself, and enjoy the process of courtship, of dating. That's the fun part. Why do we rush that? Why do we rush that?
So what happens after you take your time, get to know him,
Yes.
and you decide to be in a committed, exclusive relationship? Then there's touching, there's intimacy. What is the next step for the women?
Well, for the women, if we are taking our time and we're getting to know the man and we're relying on him and trusting him, then you are now in a position that that man, the one that you like, hopefully that's the man that's liking you, that's going to ask you to be his girlfriend. And then that's when you have an opportunity to say yes or no. And now you are actually in a committed romantic relationship. You have a boyfriend now. So now we say goodbye to everybody else. Okay. And now we're like, okay, yeah, because we're not, once you say yes to a man, I want to be exclusive with you. Yeah, that means you're not dating anymore. Now we're in a relationship, and that's the whole point.
And that's when you take your name off of the other website and all
100%.
that. So
Yes.
until you're in an exclusive relationship, if you're just dating 3 guys, getting to know him,
Just talking to different people, getting to know
yes,
people.
you are still on the apps and you are still
1000%. Because if you're talking to one and he's getting flaky on you, you don't chase the man. You're fine. You're like, okay, that's cool. You just move on. You just literally move on. And you know how you always move on? Because you have other people you're talking to.
Yes. Yes.
So you're not going to put yourself, like I said, in a disempowering place, in that anxious place, because you are already having, some dialogue and talking to other people. And what's the cool part is that when you're talking to different men, you see how men actually show up. A lot of times women don't even know what it is that they really are feeling or really enjoying until they get to talk to different guys, different things. They think they know. They think we're like, oh, I like this. I like this. No, usually it's a feeling. It's
And
a feeling.
that's a great way for you to talk to 3 guys at once and date them and get to know them, because how they treat you, you're going to realize, I like the way Chris is treating me. I don't
Yes.
like the way Steve's treating me. Or Bob is like totally out there. He's
Yeah,
not
Bob's an asshole. I'm done with Bob. You know what I mean? Bob was so rude. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Because men, when you first meet a man, it's like this with women. We show up. This is how it is. It's the ceiling as good as it's going to get. People show up their best selves. Okay. So, and that shows up in time really quickly. Okay. You can't fake it. I'm telling you, you just can't. You can't fake it for so long. So that starts coming up. You'll start noticing those moodiness, or you'll start noticing like, wow. Let me give you an example. So you're a single lady. This is what happens. We got to chill out. And this is why I teach what I'm teaching now. So you're a single lady. Let's say your girlfriend, and this happens. This is why I teach know, trust, rely, commit, touch. Okay, so you're at a party. Your girlfriend invites you to this party. And you're, getting to know, seeing people, all this stuff. And all of a sudden you see this guy and you're like, oh, he's a good looking guy. And he's looking at you, you're looking at him. This is perfect. Beautiful. So then you guys start talking. Everything's great. You're having a great conversation. It's all cool, right? And all of a sudden, you're like, wow, remember I told you about the picture frame, so now he has like this, like he just like reminds you of someone that's a really good person. So you're like, oh, this is a great guy. Again, we're just talking, we're just getting to know him. Then you ask him, what do you do for a living? And he's telling you, and he's like, oh, I'm a pediatrician. You're like, oh, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, he loves kids. I won the lottery. Okay. No, seriously, you're like, he's a pediatrician. He loves kids. He's good looking. He's sweet. He's kind. He reminds me of my person. I'm good. This is what women do. So now all of a sudden, you're like, okay, cool. So now we're making out. Seriously, we're making out. We're like, this is so fun. Okay, cool, fine. Now, all of a sudden, we're like, oh, this is, I don't know how to explain this to you. I just know this is it. This is it. This is it. We don't know anything. Let me tell you what's happening right now. When you have attraction with someone, all of a sudden, and this is why we got to slow this down. All of a sudden, when you actually have true attraction, especially for women, let me just tell you about this. Our hormones will start releasing. And we talk about this. This is oxytocin. This is what makes us what I call our critical thinking. The critical thinking, literally, there is brain scans on when people are having attraction to someone and falling for someone. There's a brain scan that your critical thinking actually shrinks. This is why we can't think correctly when we're falling for someone. This is not your fault. This is why when you're first falling for someone, you have that real connection. You think it's a real connection, but it's not necessarily a connection. It's your hormones releasing something that's not allowing you to really be able to like get all your senses of like, is this person right or wrong? Because you're not. And if you sleep with them that quickly, especially a woman, okay, because a man can actually sleep, he doesn't release it like us. So there's something that we release is the same thing that happens when we give birth. That's how we bond. Okay, so it's a bonding thing. So we're already when we sleep with the man, we're already bonding with him. A man can sleep with the woman and he doesn't release that bond. So it gets you crazy. It makes you not think. It makes no, seriously, it makes you not see the red flags. That's why you have to be careful, because you end up in these relationships. And how many times have you heard people say, oh my gosh, I end up in a relationship and he's a narcissist, he's a jerk, he's mean, it's toxic. Okay, why are you ended up in a relationship like that?
Because they got physical too soon, and then she just thought they're in a relationship, and now she's accepting or having this guy in her life because she should have slowed it down.
You got to slow it down. Not should have. You have to slow it down, because we don't want to end up, and we don't want to sleep with jerks. And we don't want to put ourselves in that position, because women have so much more at risk. Okay, seriously, we can literally get pregnant. And so there's so many factors here. So this is really important to make sure that we're not ending up with, not good people. Okay. And so that's why I tell women, I said, you have all the power. You absolutely do. A man will absolutely pursue you, but it's your job to set the pace. You're the one that gets to set the pace. You're the one that gets to say, yeah, He's the one that will pursue you. He will literally pursue you. If you have a man that's into you, that's interested in you, he will pursue you. If he's not pursuing you, then he's just not interested in you. That's why you move on. You move on. It's okay. It's actually okay. So I think it's so important that we are advocates for ourselves, that we really position ourselves and bring good energy into our lives. Bring good energy into our lives. So if you are a person, you're a good woman, you're a good lady, you have good energy, you're not going to allow that. You know what I mean? You're just not going to allow that. You're going to have your standards, your boundaries. You're going to know like how I want to be treated. So this is what I tell women all the time. I said, when we're talking about like meeting a life partner, I tell you, I help women find their husbands. What is it? I help them get out of their head, their thinking, and drop into the body. What is it that you want to feel? How do you want to feel in a relationship? How do you want to feel with a man? And this is what I learned. The majority of the women that I work with, they actually want to feel safe. They want to feel safe. And I'm not just talking safe physically. I'm talking safe mentally, with their heart, with their everything. They want to feel safe. They want to make sure, okay, you know what? Wow. That I want to know that I feel safe with you. And what is another thing that women actually want to feel when I ask them this question? Wow. They want to feel like the man wants them. They want to feel pursued. They want to feel wanted. They don't want no wishy-washy. You know what I mean? They don't want a man like, well, I kind of want you, but I kind of don't. No, I want you. I want to be with you. You are my girl. They want to feel that. And what else do they want to feel? They want to feel taken care of. And taken care of, and I use this word in Spanish. I'm Spanish. And I use this word, it's called cariño. Cariño is like, you want to have that love, that like, I got you, baby. I got you. We got each other. I got your back, So we have to really realize when we're dating and we're looking for a partner, what is it that we're actually looking for, in the sense of how do we want to feel? How do we want that person to be? Are we looking for a good human being, right? Or are we looking for what? Just the external stuff? Because if that's what's happening, then, we're just going to keep having these relationships that we're not going to be happy with. But if we slow it down and we have to say, what are we looking for? How do we really want to feel? things will start shifting and things will start changing.
I think that's what is happening in the dating world is we're just all impatient. We just want
Yes.
to move to the next step. And when we think about the third date, we're like, oh, this is the third date. This is where you sleep together. It's like,
Right.
oh, you don't have to sleep together on the third date. You don't even have to kiss on the second date. I mean, I
No.
have men sometimes are like, well, is it okay to kiss on the first date? I'm like, if you feel like it, but I personally never kissed on the first date because
Right.
how can you know someone that
Yes.
well that you want to exchange saliva already
No,
after an hour, 2 hours?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And why are we positioning ourselves? And usually we're sleeping with people. It's the same. We're sleeping with people because usually we don't have the confidence in ourselves.
Mhm.
Think about that. If we're allowing ourselves to just sleep really quick with other people, we don't have the confidence in ourselves to say, hey, I don't know. Let me make sure that because sleeping with someone is a connection, it's a bond. Women, it's a bond. And as I don't know a woman to this day that has, and I'm sure there is, then that's fine. That you can, we can sleep with the guy and just sleep with the guy. Okay. That can happen, absolutely. But for the majority, and I talk about the majority, when you sleep with a man, there's a connection.
Yeah.
Okay. There really is. So let's connect with the right man.
So what's the reason women keep attracting emotionally unavailable?
Unavailable men. Yeah.
Why is that? Like, tell me.
Because I'll tell you, because men mirror us. So
Men,
usually men mirror us. So we attract what we believe. We attract what we believe. So, if you truly, for an example, so if you are also like you think you're emotionally available, but the reality is if you are emotionally unavailable, you're also going to be attracting emotionally unavailable men. Because if you were emotionally available, if you were, really been able to understand yourself, really have the confidence, then you're not going to at all be dealing with a man that doesn't have his confidence and is not emotionally available. Usually what happens is what I always say, we attract our mirror. We mirror what we are. And so we have to find out why we are not emotionally available, why we feel the way we do. Because a lot of times, if you have this belief, this is what I've learned. If you have this belief, like for an example, all men are jerks. Seriously, deep down inside, you're like, you know what? All men are jerks. Relationships are hard. Oh, it's so hard. God, they're all narcissists now. If you truly believe that, what do you think is going to come to you? Think about that. If you're really thinking that, if you really believe all men are jerks, you're going to get jerks. All men, that's what the universe is going to bring back to you. But if you really believe in your heart that there are amazing men out there and you are amazing, what do you think is going to start showing up?
amazing
Amazing.
men.
Absolutely.
So you're saying that the reason why I would attract emotionally unavailable men is because I'm emotionally unavailable.
Emotionally unavailable.
So how do I fix that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I always tell people, I'm like, listen, if you are struggling in finding a partner, there's some work here, and that's okay. Every human being has work to do. That's okay. That's actually okay. I call it getting under the hood. Get under the hood. Work with a professional, seriously, because I don't help. Like, if I can give people quick trips or tips and tricks on how to find a guy real quick. Who cares? We don't just want a guy. No. We want alignment. So I remember I told you in the beginning of the show, I help people find their life partner, not just date. Anybody can just date. Anybody can just sleep with anybody. No, I'm a whole other process here. So I'm like, okay, so we want to find our alignment. We want to find our life partner, right? We got to find out what happened. Why are we where we're at? What happened? Why do we believe? What are our relationship past patterns? So I developed something. So I developed the Aligned Partner Attraction Formula. I have an actual program. It's called the Chosen Program, and it's for single successful women looking to attract devoted masculine men to be their husbands. And the reason why I had to do this is because it was so needed, because there were steps here that needed to get cleared before we went on to the dating world, right? Because if we were already believing and we were already ourselves in general, women, like you said, if we're already like, okay, well, I'm emotionally unavailable. I'm very in my masculine energy. Seriously, I'm very in my masculine energy. And a lot of women, it's no fault to us. It's just no fault to us. A lot of women these days are so in their masculine energy because we've had to. We've had to survive, we've had to work, we've had to do it all. So things have shifted. Everything has shifted. So we have a lot of women that are in very masculine energy, and masculine energy is very thinking. It's not actually feeling into the body. So there's shifts here that we have to make, because when a woman is not feeling, which is her intuition, which is her gut, which is her womanhood, when she's not able to feel, when she actually has frozen tension in her body, and that's what happens. We carry shit on. Like, we carry stuff from our childhood. We carry stuff from that one time in 1987 when that guy broke up with us. We haven't got over. I'm not even kidding you. We haven't gotten over him. We carry that. So we have to be able to dismantle that and clear that. So in the process that I take them, we learn about, first of all, I have to teach about polarity. And what is polarity? Because polarity is where we get this romantic, because we're not talking about friendship. We're not talking about platonic. I don't help people get platonic. I help people have romance. So I talk about in that process that I take women through, we learn about polarity, we learn about masculine and feminine energies, and how those energies attract one another, and how that makes a relationship with thriving and lasting in the romantic way. Then we learn about our limiting beliefs. We find out, why do we believe what we believe, and is it true? Is it true? And then we do reframing work to get under the hood with that. Then I teach feminine embodiment, because like I said, a lot of women are so in their masculine energy. There's nothing wrong with masculine energy, but when we're talking about romance, we need to shift into our feminine. And so we got to learn how to, you can be both. You can have masculine energy, it's beautiful, but you also have to understand your feminine energy. So we learn about feminine energy. And then the fourth step is conscious dating. That's when you get to have fun and you have the confidence and you get to go out there and you really get to find out what it is that I am looking for and how I want to feel with the man and what is it. And then you get that process. And then guess what happens? You meet the love of your life, you get married, and you live happily ever after.
We've covered so much, but I love just the beginning part, right? We kind of really walk through your program, the first couple steps, and there's so much more, but obviously,
there's so much more.
Yeah, there's so much more. We didn't even get to the other stuff, like how to meet women, meet great men. Is there a way to date successfully and find your soulmate? And how can women make dating fun? So we will touch upon all that stuff next time.
Yeah, next time.
But in the interest of time, Charlene, tell people, because you gave us so much information, and I'm sure there are female listeners out there that's like dying to like want to
get
work
more.
with you.
Yeah,
So
get more.
tell me a little bit about how they can contact you and what audience or people you would like to serve. So
yeah, I have a lot of free resources. And if you are listening to this and you are a single successful woman and you are struggling and you're like, you know what, I have been struggling. I have actually been struggling. I keep noticing I'm attracting, men that are not showing up, men that are not aligned with me. I'm not attracting that flow that I want. I'm really having a hard time dating. I'm not having the confidence that I want. I feel like, I definitely would like to talk to someone and get some information. What I have is I have a couple of free resources. So they can always go to my website. Everything's on there. But I have this really free, amazing, beautiful, it's like a 45-minute webinar. And it's actually how to attract devoted masculine men in 30 days or less. It'll give you tools and tips that you can already start applying into your life so you can go there. I also created, it's called a book. It's called The Magnetic Woman: How to Find the Love of Your Life. And that is a quick read, and it's a free resource, and you can read that and you really get yourself in a place that it's very empowering. It gives you great tips that you apply today to shift your energy, to get out there and find out what it is that is really what you're looking for. And whatever that is, I'm all over social media, and I'm really here just to help women and help people have amazing relationships, because I believe that amazing relationships is everything. We're not here on an island by ourselves, right? We're here to connect. We're here to, have love, and it's for all of us. It really is. It's for everybody.
I really agree with that. I mean, a lot of women say, "Oh, I don't need a man. I make enough money." But a man can actually make your life better, right? It's
Yes.
sure you don't need him, right? You don't need him because women are
No,
financially
no, we
stressed
need a
now and
man.
all
No,
that.
no, no, no. I'm gonna
Yes.
say I'm gonna go controversy. No, I don't agree with that. I actually think we need a man, 100%,
Yes.
because it has nothing to do with that you can't be independent on your own. You can't do this, you can't do that. Why? Why? Why would we want to be superwoman? Why?
Right.
When we actually can have, why? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, why do you want to work so hard, do your car, do the house, do it all by yourself?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because
We can have a partner who can make our lives a lot better. And when you have,
absolutely.
but not any relationship, you have to have a
No,
great
no.
relationship.
Yes,
That's
that's the
the
difference.
only
That's
time
the
that
difference.
it
Yes.
can make your life great. So I
Yeah.
guess when women are like, "I don't need a man," it's like, you don't need just any man. You
You don't
need
need a jerk.
a man for
You don't
you.
need a,
Right.
yeah, a bump on a log. No,
Yes.
but but let me say something. Men are actually amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, ladies, like, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. A good, amazing man,
Right.
because he will literally like enhance your life.
Yes.
So relationships, this is what I tell people. Relationships, good relationships. This is why we do this work, so we can find a partner that is aligned with us, because everyone's different. Everyone has a different flavor. You got someone that you're going to jive with. You're not going to jive with everyone. You got to jive with the right person to have the alignment. When you find that person, and when you have a great relationship, that actually, relationships are where you come to enhance your life, not to detract from them.
Right.
When you're in a relationship, it's not, relationships are not to detract, relationships are enhance. Relationships are where we come to empower each other. Relationships when we actually learn and we get to grow as a human being ourselves. It's really hard to grow by yourself when you're just by yourself and you're not having someone, have accountability with someone, getting yourself to be the best version of yourself. It's awesome. So let's
Yes.
have awesome relationships, ladies.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Charlene,
you.
for
Thank you
joining
so
me
much.
today. I mean, we could probably talk about this forever, but
Yeah,
ladies, if you're listening out there, give Charlene a call, contact her. And
I
if you
love it.
want to be in my database, I'm always looking for great women to be part of my resource, my Rolodex. And if there are men out there, I would love to help you as well. So thank you, Charlene, for joining
Thank
me on
you.
the Asian Dating Podcast, and I will see you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. It's been awesome. Thank you.